Alright, so hello everyone. My name is Andres Sada. I'm Fernando and we're here to talk about Google's administration, finances, the way they innovate, and all the other corporations inside of Google. So that's going to be our outline. We're going to start by talking about the history of Google, how did it start, why did it start, and then we're going to move on to how they innovate, their ideals and their culture. And then we're going to talk about its finance, the way they manage their money. And then we're going to move up to the next corporations like YouTube and Google Maps and others like that. So let's start with history.
Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about the history of Google, how it started. Well, in 1995, Larry Page, co-founder of Google, was at the University of Stanford. He went to watch the university, and Sergey Brin, who is the other co-founder of Google, was assigned to give him a tour. So that's how they met. It's like really coincidence. It's a coincidence that they were assigned together, like they were together like casualty, and they met at Stanford. And after that, they became friends, and they have like classes together. In 1996, they developed Backrub, which was a search engine. They used it at Stanford for over a year, but it was not successful, so they had to remove it. In 1997, the Google.com was registered as a domain, and they started selling ads, well, advertisements, and they started they also started like the searching browser, the searching engine, again, but with the name Google. In the year 1998, an investor named Andy Bechtolsheim, who was Sun Enterprise co-founder, invested $100,000. He gave them a check for $100,000, so they could develop and they could grow more, even more, like out of Stanford. That's really how they started. Because of that, $100,000 was like an impulse to grow their business. Well, as I said, in 2000 they started selling ads, the search system. They became more popular and popular. After that, like in many years, they accomplished many achievements. They had an agreement with NASA where they built Google Maps, Google Moon, and Google Mars, which, well, I guess everybody knows what Google Maps is. If you search Google Moon and Google Mars, is just like Google Maps, but not that exact. It's like, so you can watch the moon and Mars. That's basically what it does. It was for NASA to make research and to make more things. According to Forbes, Google it's in position number 39 in the global 2002 prices in the world, with a value of $82.5 billion approximately. That's a lot of money, and this all happened in less than 20 years. Like in 20 years, you're already that rich and that big. That's like a huge accomplishment. They are also the #1 search website worldwide. It's the most used website in the whole world by not only for search, like everybody uses Google for everything. Like Google Chrome, Google Maps, they had a lot of things. They developed a lot of new things, enterprises inside of Google. Well, that's really how it started, that's how it happened, and that's how they make it come to.
Perfect. So now we want to talk about how they continue to innovate and how they continue to be one of the greatest companies in the world. As Alfredo said, Google started in 1997, started selling ads, started growing with some other corporations like YouTube, and it's just impressive how they continue to grow, and this is the reason why. One of their chairs, Wozniacki, that's his name, he shows 8 of the principles and pillars of why they continue to innovate. So there's more than 40,000 Googlers. That's how workers at Google call themselves Googlers, that work to make a better service for you. So the number one thing they're asked to do is to improve their products and services by 10 times. Not 10%, but 10 times better. So if you have Google Maps, you're not going to improve it by 10%, you're going to improve it 10 times better. So that's the first principle they take. Number two is the 70-20-10 rule. This means that 70% of their work is going to go to the core base of the objective of the company, which is Google. So 70% of their work is going to go to that. Then 20%, they're going to do anything related to Google, but it's not part of their objectives. And 10% of their work time, they're going to be free to do anything they want. So you have 10% of time to work on anything that they want. And if they pitch the right idea, if they pitch the right product, that new product is going to come to market and it's going to improve the business as it is. And that's why Google keeps growing. So one example for that was Larry, one of the co-founders in Google. He created Google Books by starting to scan a book by himself. He took initiative. He said, I want to create a web library. So he didn't know how to start. He got 3 other guys and he said, all right, let's start this new enterprise inside Google, which is books right now. And he just started scanning books. And manually, that's how he started with his 10% of free time inside the corporation. Focus on the users. That's number 3. You're not supposed to focus on prices or the competitor, but on the users. That way you can do a better service for them and you can approach them in a better way. One of the resources that Google uses is that they pitch a product and they pitch an idea, and instead of expecting for perfection and everyone to buy that product, they listen to the customers, and that way they can improve that project and that product a little bit better every time. And that there's a little relationship in that. When you can pitch a product, then you can improve that product by 10 times better and not just 10%. Transparency and sharing information would be number 4. That means that every single Googler inside Google shares their information and share their work with others, because they know that you can learn from everyone and everything at all times. Ideas are everywhere. So if you share information, you're going to be able to help me and I'm going to be able to help you. So that's how Google works. Everyone's really transparent about it and everyone's really clear about their ideas. Larry and Sergey conduct weekly meetings to keep everyone on board and keep everyone with clear information, new objectives, new projects, and clear of its finances. The last more important, is learning that failure is a step forward and not backwards. So many people are afraid to take risks because they're afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. Make sure you take that risk, take initiative. If you have a project on mind, if you want to start a company, do it. No one wants to stop you, all right? That's the culture Google has created, a culture of innovation. Now we're going to talk about its finances, and Adrian's going to go a little bit deeper on how they administrate all their money inside Google.
Well, all this innovation that Andres has said has made Google become the second most valuable company in the world, just after our teammates, our classmates, one, Apple, with $82.5 billion value, with a current stock of $772 per share. And it has many services, wallet, navigation, and all of those are free. So basically, how does Google makes its money? And maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't. I didn't know, and it really impressed me that 97% of the revenue they get comes from just advertising. And basically, it is divided into major platforms, AdSense and AdWords. with AdWords being the most important, because companies pay Google for their results to come in the first pages. Like, you don't want to be in the 32nd page when you type out colleges. Colleges want to be like in the first results, like in the first page or second page, not in the 38th or 40th. And those companies or colleges or services and good suppliers call Google and pay them a quantity of dollars per click. I think the most expensive ones are insurance, lawyer. Those words are the most valuable ones. Like, if you want to appear in the first page, when typing insurance, it is very costly. So, for example, I have a business called La Gorditeria here in Torreon, Coahuila. This is not true, but it is an example. And when someone types Gorditas Torreon, Coahuila, I want my result, my La Gorditeria webpage, to come up first. So I pay Google a quantity, an amount, so I can come up in the first results. And the other one, that is called AdWords, and it is 70% of the revenue from ads. The other one is called AdSense, and basically it is someone who wants to earn money from websites, blogs, videos, and calls Google or pays them a quantity for the services of ads, because ads earn you money. So if I'm a blogger, I have a food blog. This is also not true, but I love food. I would love to have a food blog. I would pay Google, like, can you put me some ads in my webpage? These are intelligent ads, so they are food-related ads. I would have Domino's Pizza ads. I would have taco ads at my food blog, and that would earn me money, earn Google money. So Domino's and those tacos would have to pay Google some money to advertise themselves. The rest of the money, like the remaining 3%, comes from things like YouTube, the Play Store, and other stuff. It is very attractive to people to work there because the salaries are very good, ranging from the lowest, like $50,000, all the way to an average worker, like $150,000 per year, with the major positions having much money in salary. And they offer top-of-the-line healthcare, financial consulting, savings accounts, and planning services. And how much does it get? Like that 97% and that 100%, how much is it? Well, in 2011, it was 24 billion per year. And in 2015, it has escalated to 45 billion, and that is almost 100% increase in just 4 years. So it has a consistent 25% increase per year. With this means the investor knows that Google is a company that makes products that the customers are willing to buy every year consistently. But what happens to that money? Well, 1/4 of that is reinvested, so they get returns on their revenue, but 3/4 are like left like dead money. So it is not that is financially inadequate, because you could be gaining so much more if they just lost the fear to invest that money. And some examples of how they did invest is buying YouTube in 2006 for $2 billion. So just imagine what they could do with $45 billion spending. How like monstrous their money would be.
Well, now that my teammate has talked about Google buying other companies, I would like to talk about the companies that are owned by Google. Ever since 2010, Google has bought approximately, on average, one company per week. Currently, Google owns 190 companies, and it may seem ridiculous to own that many companies for a search engine, but I would like to remind that Google has projects like the Google Lens, like other robotics projects, and it is constantly inventing things that make people's life easier. It is not only just like search engine. And I would like to ask, why is Google constantly buying businesses? Google likes to make sure that their projects are done by the best people in the field. Whenever they buy a global positioning system, they incorporate that system with Google Earth and Google Maps. When they bought Motorola Mobility, which is the largest company owned by them, they made sure that all their efforts was to improve that company. The Android system is owned by Google, and they are constantly improving it, so much that 10% of the companies owned by Google are either fused or they use the research to improve Motorola Mobility. So, yeah, that's the fact about the Google companies. But I will also talk about how Google manages their information. Arvind Jain, which is the person that invented the float and intersect system in Google and the large store system, he answered in an interview what is the difference between most search engines and Google. He said that most companies, whether they are a search engine or a gorriteria, they only store their information. They don't classify it, and they only put it in boxes, and they are abandoned in a dark room, for example. What Google does is that they professionally manage the information. This goes from accounting and their finances, which are stored in an ordered way, and they are managed professionally by experts. But it also goes to all the information, all the web pages that are within Google's domain. Whenever you type something, you search for anything in the Google search, they send you to a specific place depending on your location, depending on your previous searches, and they are always connecting you with the database so that they know what you may be looking for, and they don't send just information like
Raw.
raw. They don't send raw information. They send what you need. They search. If I search gorditas, they will send me to what is near me. They don't send me gorditas in Querétaro. They manage professionally the information, and this is because the Google not only developed a search engine, they innovated. There was already systems that could give information if you type it, you do it. But sometimes Google, it's easier to find information in Google about the company by searching in the web page of the company itself. Arvind Jain said that the process of search engines will change in the next years because the search engines and the information management will not focus on the process anymore. It will focus on the results and how to get the information to you. Because according to Arvind Jain, when people look for something is because they want to be informed and they want to take a decision based on that information. And he believes that information is necessary to take a good decision. And he makes sure that you get the information you need to make decisions, whether you're in Google taking a financial decision or you just want to know where to have breakfast. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please let us know.
And also, have you ever been like you search in Google like a word like I don't know, la gorditeria or gorditas, and then you're on Facebook and Facebook have ads and you see like ads about gorditas.
Yeah.
That happened a lot. It's because Google has like for example, companies like Facebook pay to Google, or not pay, but they pay like a yes, an agreement, yes, a company where if I search gorditas and then I go to my Facebook, they will appear gorditas, so you can see like more options. Do you get what I mean? And that makes like the user more content. Yes, it makes it happier, and it is easier for him to find gorditas. Even when you're not in Google, Google still is part of everything.
Yeah. So it's really important to understand the power of information. It's really important to understand how they continue to innovate. It's really important to understand how Google makes 97% of their profit out of ads. Talking about gorditas or the Congress or countries all over the world, news, they're everywhere. If you have never used Google, raise your hand. That's right. Everyone has used Google at least once in their life. Everywhere you go, information is important. From 1997, the day started, they continue to grow. and that's because they have the information. They have the power to bring other companies to it, and I believe that's for one reason. They build the culture. That's what we're trying to do here with this presentation. That's what we're trying to do here in Mexico. So be aware of our culture, be aware of who you are, be aware of who we are, so you can define your strengths and you can figure out which strengths help you become a better person. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or anything, just let us know. Thank you.
Do you know, wait, sorry. Do you know why Google is so successful? Like, do you know why their workers are so happy and they like work with joy? Does anybody know why? No. Have you ever seen Google offices in Silicon Valley? I mean, not being there, but have you seen them in
pictures?
Yes, in pictures. They're like very creative, very innovative. They're not like a square office. They're not like blocks and you sit here, you sit here, you sit here, you sit here. No, it's all colorful. It's all you can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to be working like 8 hours a day. You can relax. It's like a more how can I explain this? It's like a more comfortable place to work. Like people are happy to work there. Do you have a question?
Like our library is based on
Yes.
Google model.
Yes, actually the library is based on the Google model. It makes people be more creative and more active instead of being like sleeping or boring or like, oh, I hate this job. It makes people want to go to work every day.
Also, finally, before we go, for real, I would like to remind you that the vision of Google and their mission. I mean, most people don't know this, but Google doesn't own those 180 companies. They are owned, and also Google is owned by Alphabet Incorporation, which is a company founded by the same founders of Google, and they only did that for a technicality, so that Google is not directly responsible for all the enterprises, and so they can focus their efforts on their main area. So Google focus on the search engine, and so Android focus on Android, and they only respond to Alphabet as a modality. But when he named Alphabet, he thought of that name because the alphabet is just a group of symbols that are used for our language, and our language is the most useful tool in humanity, according to Larry Page. And he said that when he founded Google and when he started to develop new projects and buy new companies, he wanted them to be a group of companies, just like a group of symbols that are used as a tool for humanity to improve it and make life easier.
Thank you.
No, wait.
No.